Art has always been with me for since I was since I was born. I always seen the world as maybe even a painting now. And when I see objects, when I was young and little, when I was little, I saw just just a random object, and I see it, and I'm like, that's perfect for this, and I remember it, and once I get everything, I put it there, even if it's just like a small little detail for a big piece of project. It was really important for me to have that object. When I came to Gallery X Studio, my teacher wanted to see what skill level I was in the beginning. So she asked me to draw this bunny, and when I drew it, I drew very small. And because I drew very small because I didn't know the technique, the skill, and how to lay out the sketch for me to be able to draw it big. So once she noticed that I drew very small, she started to show me how to draw, how to sketch out my drawing. And once I started to, and it helped me a lot to be able to do what I do now because of that basic sketch, the basic skill she taught me. I did watercolor for I think 2 years, and for me, watercolor was when I first started watercolor, I started off just doing one solid color for one piece of painting. And the more paintings I progressed, I started to add shadow and highlights, gradients. And I also started to draw bigger and more detail, and it started to look a bit more real in a way. While I was doing watercolor, I did a little bit of acrylic, but I enjoyed it. It's just I find it really hard because I kept using watercolor techniques for when I was doing acrylic. So once I started doing I stopped doing watercolor and started to learn. Not when I stopped. When I started doing more with acrylic, I started to notice that they're not the same. I need to make sure not to add too much water. So when I started doing acrylic, I found it really hard to add detail because because I kept thinking I need no water, but I need to. After I'd done acrylic, I've been doing acrylic. I started to paint, and I started to progress my paintings as well. I started to paint on bigger canvases, and I started to paint more detail, and I started to paint with more I started to kind of see that I need. I don't explain it. It's more oil actually, but okay. When I did oil, I started off doing my first painting, and when I did my first painting, it was really hard because I used the techniques that I learned in the acrylic, and once I noticed that I was getting frustrated, I took a break of it and moved to ceramic, and so I will have a fresh and open mind to be able to take in new techniques and remember that this is another medium of art. So once I came back with my painting, I did much better, and I was very happy of what I was able to accomplish of my skill level back then. So the more I moved to my paintings, I learned that I shouldn't be afraid to add texture. I shouldn't be afraid to let go and let myself just paint. I need to let myself paint and not focus on being perfect, because if I focus on that, it would never really be perfect for me. So once I started to let go and I started to improve, I noticed that when I look at my painting, I'm like, it's perfect. And I'm very happy that I learned to be, just whatever I feel paint, because when I paint, it's a lot about more feeling. I need to feel what I'm painting. I need to express what I am feeling in that moment. And I really liked learning that because it helped me see the world differently as well. Not just the painting, it also helped me see the world with more beauty in it. Usually my paintings take around 20 classes, and in each class I learn something new and I develop my skill, and I always push my limit on my paintings. And what also helps me too is that my teachers also tell me little hints saying, oh, this needs more of this color, or this is not, it doesn't look, it looks just weird, or something like that. And I started, after those little hints, I see it and I'm like, yeah, that's right, I need to fix it. So once I started to see those little mistakes, I started to do it myself, and I step back, I look at my painting, and I see that my piece of painting needs more of something and less of that, or more of this and more of that. And once I started seeing that, I'm like, okay, I'm getting there. I'm getting better. In the beginning, I thought that art was just drawing, painting, and building. I never saw art as something more than just that. But I started noticing that, and then starting to see that art has more. It has print, it has woodworking, metalworking, I like to design my work in advance because I want to make sure I have the drawing or painting or whatever on a piece of paper to see that, oh, that's how I want it to look like, and that's the main idea. So once I notice what I want on that piece of paper, I start saying, oh, this needs to change, or this is too much, I need to add this. So I started adding more detail, and I started to fix what I had in mind in the first place. So it helps me have a layout to be able to paint what I want, or build what I want. It's just foundation. I sometimes get tired of drawing and redoing the same things over and over again, because for me sometimes it's just I get tired and I want to do something different, and to learn something new. So for me, what I like about art is that I learn something new every day. And if I don't, I get bored and I start to get tired of it. So I need to change instead of painting, I need to change to ceramics. So I could make sure that I'm not getting angry in art. And that actually happened once, because in oil I did a painting, and when I got frustrated after painting because I couldn't learn anything else, and I wanted to because I knew there was something missing. So, and I didn't have an open mind to learn anything else. So I moved to oil to ceramic so I can take a break and let my mind empty itself. So once I come back to my painting, I have a fresh open mind to take in any technique that I was missing when I first started my painting. Once I noticed that art has so much more to just painting and just drawing, I started seeing that I really want to learn everything I can in art because I enjoy learning it, and it helped me shape who I am right now. So the more I can learn, the stronger I'll be able to feel that I am who I am, and it helped. And I want to learn so much that I can in art because I like putting my emotion in art. I like putting my heart. I like putting like sadness, anger, happiness in it because it helps me be me. It helps me a lot. I learned a lot in the time I'm here in the Gallery Studio. I learned a lot, and I learned one thing that really helped me was that I learned how to be. It helped me be confident of who I am right now, and also I started to learn texture, color, environmental colors, gradients. I started seeing and learning that stuff here, and the techniques they showed me of what kind of brush stroke fits here, or what kind of brush stroke will make this certain texture, so this will look more like a stone, or this brush stroke will help look more like fur, and this texture will look more like water. And another, I guess, and I started also learning how to mix my own colors instead of depending on the color that's already in the bottle. Because in the color already in the bottle, it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a specific color for this specific something I'm just painting. I also learned in the Gallery Studio that how to make things look in my paintings look more 3D instead of two-dimensional. Instead of looking just paper. I started to learn that, like, if I make things just, well, depending on what kind of painting, and right now I'm focused on realistic paintings. I need to look to see where my lighting is, and the environmental colors, and if it looks 3D, and it has emotion in the painting, and it has some sort of story in a way, and it has movement in the story, because movement in the painting. I really enjoy learning in Gallery Studio because here they take art more serious than other studios I went to learn. Because in other studios I had the impression, and that's how it was, just for games and for fun, and it was not taken serious, and I wasn't learning anything, and I found it boring and I got frustrated. So I would much rather go home and learn by myself, because I actually make myself think of how to do this paint piece. But in here, in Gallery Studio, the first day I came, the environment was totally different. It was more serious, and it was like, okay, let's see what you got and what we can improve. It's like, get straight to the point and I want you to improve, and I want you to improve as much as you can and like reach your limit every day in every class. So in here it helped me kind of, I like learning here because instead of other places, because I feel like I get pushed to my limit every class I take, and I really like that feeling because I don't get really bored because I learn something new every day in every class I take here. Oh, interrupting now? Okay. Right now in my life, I always, when I was small, I was like, okay, I was always interested in art, yes. But right now, I see myself as an artist, and I want to continue being an artist till even for beyond right now. And in the future, I want to continue my art. Even if it's not painting, I want to continue like learning new things of art, like photography, foods, what's it called? Graffiti. I also really want to learn graffiti. And because when I do art, I feel happy. I feel that I am content, and my heart is full of joy, and I feel even more happier in this world with my art. So I am pretty confident that I will continue art in the future, even if it's not the same medium. And just, yeah.